Hey folks, Jim Hart here from Hawthorne Law, and today I want to talk to you about the 5 things you need to do to create a legal foundation for your business. I know this is really exciting, sexy stuff, but this is stuff you really need to know if you're starting an online business, or even if you already have an online business and you're just looking to grow your business. You really need to make sure you've got these 5 things set up to protect your business. So let's just dive right in, okay? The first thing you want to do is to create varying layers of legal liability protection. And you might want to know, what does that mean? Well, there's really 3 different layers that you can build into your business to protect your business legally. The first thing is to make sure you have a business entity in place, whether it be an LLC, a corporation, a partnership of some sort with a partnership agreement in place. That's really important. That's going to be the first thing. The second thing you want to do is to make sure you have the proper insurance in place. So you want to make sure your business is insured. And this could be a general liability policy. You might need workers' compensation coverage. You want to make sure you yourself personally have health insurance. You're complying with the Affordable Care Act if that's required in your situation. And then also you want to make sure that all your business relationships have a contract in place that govern what's going to happen, who's going to get paid, when they're going to get paid, things of that sort. So that's the first thing. Create layers of liability protection. That's number 1. The second thing you're going to want to do is, like I just mentioned before, make sure you have a contract in place for every single legal relationship that you have. This is really important because what happens is a lot of people get into these situations where they just kind of have handshake agreements. And unfortunately, that's just not good enough. That's not going to do it for you and your business. That's not going to protect you when one of your vendors doesn't deliver as they promised to. That's not going to protect you when you do something for somebody else and then they fail to pay you. You need to make sure you have a contract in place for every business relationship, and this could be between vendors, contractors, employees. It's just really important to get this done. The third thing you're going to want to do is one of the things that's most often overlooked by many entrepreneurs, and that's to make sure you have all your intellectual property protected. So this means you're going to want to make sure you get trademarks in place for all your names that you're doing business under, all your product names, your logos, things like that. You're going to make sure you register those trademarks so nobody can steal that intellectual property. You want to make sure you get your brand name protected. You want to make sure you register the copyrights for all the blogs, the ebooks, the courses, the checklists, things like that you put out. You want to make sure you copyright all those. If you're in a situation where you're inventing physical products of some sort or processes, you want to look into getting a patent. Now those can be really expensive, but if that's what you're doing, if that's the business that you're in, then you do want to look into doing that as soon as possible. The fourth thing you need to do to create a legal foundation for your business is to make sure that your website is legally compliant. And what does that mean? That means you need to have a privacy policy in place. That's actually required by law to have in place. You're going to want to make sure that you follow all the FTC rules when you're on the internet. If you're going to use testimonials, you want to make sure you have the proper disclaimers. If you're doing affiliates, you want to make sure that you have the proper disclaimers. You don't want to do anything that's going to run afoul of any of the FTC rules on your website. So that's really important. You also want to make sure that you're not infringing on somebody else's intellectual property online. So if you're going to do a brand name, you want to make sure you do a proper intellectual property search to make sure that you're not infringing on somebody else's trademark by using that name. And I've seen people do this, and it happens more often than you can possibly imagine. For whatever reason, people seem to come up with the same names that they all like. And so that's something you want to check out for sure. And then the last thing you really need to worry about is when you put together your dream team for your business, when you put together your contractors, your employees, things like that. Again, I mentioned this. This is point number 1. I think there's a reason why we're going back to point number 1 because it was so important. But you want to make sure you get all those legal relationships in writing as well. If you have employees, you want to make sure you document everything that happens with that employee. You want to make sure you document their job, what they're supposed to do, what your expectations are of them. You want to do regular performance reviews to document their progress and whether or not they're meeting certain benchmarks for your business. And that way, if God forbid you ever were to have to let them go, which does happen, your file is documented so you can protect yourself in the event of an unemployment claim or a lawsuit or something like that. So you want to make sure that you have dotted all your I's and crossed all your legal T's in that regard as well. So that's kind of it for today for the 5 things that you need to do to create a legal foundation for your business. If you like this video, if you found this helpful, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I would really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Hawthorne Law. That's it for today, folks. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.